having a warden on the institution with me that already knew my track record, what I was up to, or better yet, what I used to be up to, especially now that I was trying to change my life, calm down, stay out of trouble. Well, that was one thing, especially because he was still stereotyping me, and probably rightfully so. Based on what I had shown him in years previous on two other institutions, why would he trust me on this one? And I automatically knew all eyes were on me. But that was one situation that I was dealing with. The other situation, which was probably greater, was I could not adapt. I could not adjust. For the first time in over 6 years, 7 years, I was on low level, what they call lowland. And anybody can attest to this. If you spent prolonged periods of time on high level institutions, specifically max facilities, it's hard to come down, so to say. It's hard to decompress. It is hard to readjust. And being back in that environment and wanting to be in that environment for the first time during my prison bid, because I knew I wanted to go home and still be able to see my girl, I was forced to realize just how off I was. I was forced to really see how far removed from the streets I was. For the first time, I was on an institution where the majority of the people were what you called short timers, 5 years or less. A lot of people were in reentry, already getting ready to go home. They were talking about the streets. They never stopped talking about the streets. I had been on institutions where lifers were gone for decades. They knew nothing about the street, and the conversations was within the confinement of that prison. It was hard to escape even mentally. Here, you were reminded every day about society. And I was reminded just how lost I was. I started to pay attention to the mentalities of the people and just understanding that what my girl was telling me about how society had shifted and changed was more than true. These people that were coming into the institution seemed angrier. It wasn't just the younger people. Everybody seemed more and more agitated, more volatile. Like everything increased over the years since I had been gone from the street. And though I had built a reputation behind prison walls, a lot of these youngins, they didn't care about that. They had their own reputations. They were already putting their own work in their street and their city. So here I was in a situation where on one hand it was good because all the attention wouldn't necessarily be on me and a few others. It would probably be on everybody else because there was such a large percentage of people on that camp wilding out. But still, on the other hand, internally I had some things going on. I really had to figure out how to get my mind right. I remember going to mental health and, finally mustering enough courage to put in a request form to go holler at a therapist that was on site in the institution and telling her, hey, I'm off. I don't feel right. I want to go back to a level 4. And she kind of laughed it off and said, don't worry, just give it a couple more weeks. You'll be all right. A couple more days even. You'll be okay. It just takes some more time to readjust. You've been on high levels. Just come back if you need to see me again. That was it. My visit lasted about 15 minutes. She simply asked me if I wanted to self-harm. I said no, and she asked for me to be put back on the institution by the CO or to walk back to my pod without any help. I was jacked up. I remember getting on the phone with my girl and even telling her, yo, I want to go back to a level 4. I want to go back to a level 3. I need to go back to a cell. I can't do it. It's too loud here. I can't take it anymore. I can't adjust. I cannot. And all the while she was telling me, no, you're on a level 2. You should just calm down. Be easy. It's okay. You need to just do what's right. And I remember specifically saying, you must not understand. You're not getting it. There's too much noise in my head. I'm lost right now. I can't adjust in here, and you can't help me because I'm in here. And it caused us to get into arguments. Why? And probably more intense than before, because now I had finally got to this low level where it was like I was getting ready to self-sabotage and get sent back upstream to a high level to go back in a cell. And I remember her saying, what type of crazy thought is that? You want to go back to a cell? The goal is to get free. You should be working your way down even more. I wasn't trying to hear that. I was angry. I was agitated. I wanted off of here. It was only a matter of time before I knew I would end up snapping out because guys were disrespectful at night. It was a dorm. They didn't go to sleep when it was, lights out. They were still up gambling. They didn't care if I needed rest or not, or anybody else. It was only a matter of time before I just couldn't take the thought of trying to use the restroom around 80 other dudes at one time or somebody trying to take a peep at me or whatever. It was only a matter of time. One of my homeboys who was there for about 2 weeks found out a way to get sent back up. He had 2 razor blades hitting the book off of a shaver. Nothing too serious, but they got him sent back to a level 4. And I remember him before he got sent back. He said, man, I can't do this. And sure enough, he got sent back. And I'm not going to lie, I was getting ready to do the same thing. Because, yeah, I was on a level 2. Yeah, I get to see my girl now. Yeah, I'm getting close to home. But it's so hard to deal with the thought that I'm that jacked up in the head, removed from society, and that traumatized, man. When you're inside of a prison and the guys that are locked up are saying you're institutionalized, like you ODing on certain points, that's an issue.